I've gone all bicycle-y recently. I think it's a good thing. Yes, yesterday I drove all the way to Auckland to pick up a new bike. It was incredibly cheap, I couldn't say no, and I'd actually got rid of a pile of old car batteries at the same time, which not only paid for the purchase of the bike, it paid for the fuel to get up there and back and lunch. So I had a nice day out and came home with the bike. I can hear my bike, finally. Oh, there he is. He's taken a long way here, coming around the car park for a grand entrance.
Yes, good. Hey,
I am.
So sorry to have had you waiting so long.
That's alright. It sounds nicer than my current one.
It's a brilliant little motor, eh?
Mine's 15 years old now. Yeah, I've ended up with a new toy. So, this came from a dude who lives on a boat in a marina. It should have made me realise that, yeah, it's going to be rusty. So, it is. There's a lot of rust on the unplated parts, and bicycle chrome plating's never been good. So, even the plated parts aren't looking too hot. But it goes well. The guy tells me it's 2 years old, whereas this one, I thought it was 10 years old. But I pulled something apart the other day and it had a date on it. Turns out it's 15 years old. So I've been using this as the benchmark for powered bikes. I thought that this is what a powered bike went like. I've never ridden another one. So what we're going to do shortly is I'm going to go head to head on these two bikes, one after the other, and I'll do a wee time trial. In fact, I'm going to download a GPS speedo for my phone, and I'll put the phone on both bikes and I'll go for a blast down the road, and we'll just see which one goes best, because these bikes should be the same. Granted, this one was bought from a reputable New Zealand dealer, the motor kit, whereas I imported this one myself from China. And I bought this one for, I think, $495, which was when they first became available. The guy that I've just bought this one from tells me he paid either $175 or $195 2 years ago for the kit. Bicycles are two a penny. You just pick up a bicycle from the internet or the side of the road. So they're both 50cc. They're supposedly the same kit. I do see a difference. This one has an angled spark plug. This one has a straight down spark plug. That is the only difference I can spot. The gearing looks the same. The carburetors look the same. The muffler looks the same. We're both old bikes with steel frames. This one's got steel rims and rim brakes. This one's got alloy brakes and self-balancing. I'm not sure what these ones are called. They're supposedly slightly better. They both have the same size fuel tank. This one's a medium-sized frame. This one's a large-sized frame. This one is appreciably heavier. Honestly, as soon as I unloaded it from the ute, I realised it was heavier than this one. So that's another thing we're going to do. I'm going to weigh both of these bikes and just see how they compare. So let's get started. Right, time for a close-up look. You can see that this one has the ubiquitous flexible coupling sprocket. Why is it called a flexible coupling? Well, if we go around the other side, you will see that the drive is conducted by the spokes. The sprocket is not attached to the hub, it's attached to the spokes with a myriad of nuts and bolts and washers and plates and two flexible rubber discs. Don't laugh, it works. It takes 15 or 20 minutes to set up initially, but once you've got it right, it just stays there. I do guess that with high horsepower motors, you could destroy your rear wheel, but with these tiny little motors, which are about 2 horse maximum, that ain't gonna happen. Next in line, we've got a chain tensioner. It's not sprung loaded, it's manually adjusted. It's something that you have to keep an eye on from time to time, but it works. Delightfully simple, but it works. These motors, unlike a 4-stroke motor, are incredibly slim. There's no modifications required to the bike to fit one of these. You will not burn yourself on it. They don't get in the way. They do 150 miles to the gallon. You've got a 2-litre petrol tank. It's enough for many trips into town and even a small cross-country trip. If you're running one of these, you do have to use an older style bike with a 22mm seat post. Otherwise, you've got to run adapters. Those adapters take up space and it will lift the motor closer to the top frame here. Wiring's delightfully simple. We'll go into that later. If you're running one of these motors, you can't get that sprocket on the rear and a disc brake. You have to have a bicycle with rim brakes of one description or another. No problem, it's just that they're getting a little harder to find now. You only really find them on cruisers. Moving over to this other bike, you can see that this one's got a nice set of road tyres on it. Very pleased about that because that's how I ride the bike most often. Because the dude lived on a boat, everything that was electrical or bare metal got wrapped in tape, and I think he's used a whole box of zip ties on this creation. And hey, it's got lights. He did bring it to me last night just after dark, and I could see that the lights, even though they're cheapies, they've got plenty of brightness. You can certainly see somebody coming on this bike. And as I mentioned earlier, it's from a reputable New Zealand dealer. That New Zealand dealer is Mike's Chainsaws and Mowers in New Plymouth, and they've opened up a separate little company that they call Cycle Pro. And they're bringing in the best quality Chinese engines. How do you know they're the best quality? Well, they're the ones with the 8mm mounting studs and the hex key side cases. The ones that have got the screw heads and the 6mm bolts, stay away from those. Also, I guess combustion is not going to be as technically perfect as having the spark plug smack in the centre of the combustion chamber, but it does mean that you can fit it into frames with a lower top tube. So that's a good thing. Everything else is the same. We've got the flexi sprocket mount, the same chain tensioner, we've got the same muffler. The performance on these can be lifted incredibly by putting an expansion chamber on. An expansion chamber is something that's particular to 2-stroke motors, because 2-stroke motors don't have valves that open and close. They require a pulse in the exhaust to assist with keeping the gases where they're meant to be at specific times. That is created by the back pressure from an expansion chamber. They're a little expensive, they're also a little bit noisy, but they will add 30 to 50% to your power. Quite frankly though, I wouldn't want to be going any faster than bicycle speed on one of these things unless I was wearing proper motorcycle Kevlar jeans, helmet, gloves, elbow pads, all of the normal things that you'd be wearing on a bike, because these things can do up to 40 or 50 mile an hour.
Right, what's first? Let's
weigh this thing. Let's see what we've got here. This is the first one. This is the one that I've had since 2010. 15 years old. And this one weighs 23 kilograms. Okay. And this one, same engine kit, same size wheels, frame is a large, whereas the other bike's got a medium. Both steel frames. This one has steel rims. That's the only difference. And this one weighs, well, this one weighs 27.5 kilos. So there's quite a difference. And don't you dare forget that I'm also making the wooden pallet bike. Yes, the cargo bike made out of a shipping pallet, which comes complete with its own built-in workshop at the front. So, tell all your friends, talk to the dog, like, share, subscribe, tell your neighbours. Tiny house and off-grid resources.